Glad to be here to speak to you as a partner, business associate, and a member of Cheney Board of Directors. I'm a resident of Prince George's County. I am chairman of a concrete company called Monumental Concrete, and previously Prince George's Contractors. And as over 30 years, I was a neighbor to Cheney Concrete, and we bought sand and gravel from them. And I became one of the most successful contractors in the state of Maryland, and I couldn't have done it without Cheney Enterprises. So I'm here to speak in support and to appear as an example of what can be done when you provide a company like Cheney to operate within your boundaries. Thank you very kindly, and I do support the special exception.
Thank you, sir. Mayor Davies, Reverend Davies.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and board members, for this opportunity to address you at this time and speak in support of the application for sand and gravel mining by the silver companies. I'm here this evening because for let me go to this thing. In the early 1900s, I'll share with you the reason for my support. In the early 1900s, the city of Fredericksburg I'm Lawrence Davies from Fredericksburg, Virginia.
Mr. Mayor, we knew who you were.
Okay, thank you. In the early 1900s, the city of Fredericksburg was in dire economic and fiscal straits. As then mayor of the city of Fredericksburg, I recall meeting regularly with the city manager and the city treasurer just to determine which pile of city bills and invoices we were going to pay that month, and which one would have to wait until the city coffers could be recharged. Who did we turn to in order to try to find a solution to help us through this dreadful condition? Carl and Larry Silver. Fast forward some 20 years and find within this city, once searching for ways to pay its bills, now nearly 3 million added square feet of commercial tax-based revenue generated by commercial space, new schools at virtually every level, a protected regional water supply system, a new wastewater treatment plant, a new fire station, a new police station, a newly restored and expanded downtown library, freshly paved streets and newly bricked sidewalks throughout downtown, citywide trail systems, a new courthouse, and the beginnings of a downtown riverfront park. Ask me how the lion's share of this was paid for. The silver companies. Indeed, silver company developments have for over a decade now consistently accounted for nearly 30% of the city's annual revenue stream, and that's only half the story. The other half may be even more compelling because while Carl, Larry, Judd, and the silver companies were out front leading, building, and creating jobs and developing real estate throughout the area, there was another dynamic afoot within their ranks. And while many have seen firsthand evidence of the large commercial developments and office parks located along major corridors throughout the region from Quantico through Stafford, Pennsylvania, and the city, few have heard much talk about this other quieter, equally impressive.
Mr. Mayor, I'm going to have to ask you to summarize.
All right, thank you. Okay. It speaks volumes for the kind of corporate citizens that Caroline County now has the opportunity to embrace. We come before you tonight with resolve and without reservation to tell you that the silver companies have already supported the communities in which they do business. It's in their DNA, and it will continue. That's the kind of corporate citizen you're going to get with the silver companies. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Reverend Kay? Before you start, Reverend Kay, turn around so they could see you? Someone signed right after Reverend K, and we couldn't read your handwriting. Whatever it is, would you come down, sir?
Reverend Beasley.
Oh, I didn't even, okay. I know who you are, but not from your handwriting, so, okay. We're going to print from now on, okay? Reverend K, your 3 minutes begin now, and it's not Sunday.
Oh. My name is Reverend Otis L.K. Sr. I'm pastor of First Mount Zion Baptist Church in downtown Sparta, Virginia, located in Caroline County. Mr. Chairman of the board and all the board members, I thank you for the brief few minutes that I plan to take. I'm in support of this special permit. A lot of members of my congregation are in support of it. They need the jobs. The jobs are very needful here in Caroline County. Mr. Charles, the CEO, he took most of what I was going to say. He talked about the safety. They have an excellent safety record. I think I read one where they were fined $100. I paid more than that for a speeding ticket not too long ago myself.
Reverend.
I got caught.
Confession is good for the soul, isn't it?
Community employment, I read where 77 of their full-time members live right there in Prince George County. 78 of the independent truckers live right there in the county. And certainly the truckers here, I was at Mr. Fairchild's house today, one of the outstanding truckers in the county and the country, talking about the seriousness of trucking. So the work is needed. I read also about the education, how they're committed to their employees, that they have a school or university that they can send their employees to school, and they can, and also the health issues, if they help pay for their tuition, for their premium, if they follow certain things and look out for their health, because they understand a healthy workforce actually put more money in the company profit. In my closing, I heard somebody was saying about the visibility. I visited the property, and when I finally found it down in that bottom, the only way you can see it is from an airplane. And so I don't know whether it's going to disturb the scenery so much from anybody local just by passing by. So I encourage you, the members of First Mount Zion, to approve this. Thank you for your time. God bless you.
Thank you, Reverend K, and trust me, he already has. Reverend Beasley.
Yes, sir. Chairman Thomas, members of the board, thank you for this moment to speak, and I promise you I will be way under 3 minutes. But I just want to stand tonight. I believe that the chairman of Chain Enterprise has laid out a good proposal. He's addressed all the concerns that I believe anyone might have. And on behalf of my congregation, Jerusalem Baptist Church in Sparta, we stand in support of this project, and we would hope and that you would take into consideration approving this amendment. Thank you for your time.
Before you leave, you didn't tell us.
Bowling Green District.
Thank you, sir.
Amen.
Now we had Ashlyn Turner, Anthony Adams, and Del R. Dean. Does that sound even close? Sears? Oh yeah, it looks just like that. Oh, that's Hashmel Turner. Reverend Turner?
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Caroline County, we come this evening. I'm Hashmel Turner, the son of First Mount Zion Baptist Church, downtown Sparta, Virginia. Also have family members that live in the Port Royal District, where my classmate, the Honorable Calvin Taylor, is the supervisor. We come this evening in support of the Cheney's, this project. We understand jobs and tax revenue generated. Did you hear what I said? Jobs and tax revenue. That's a no-brainer. All over the region, the nation, people are talking about more jobs. People are complaining about high taxes and things that can help to alleviate the taxes on our citizens. Well, I thought about a quote, "Have not because you ask not." I was caught up in that some years ago, being the president of the Mayfield Civic Association, and we needed a community center. And we had not, but I knew that the Silver Company had. So I asked for an invite to go and talk with Mr. Larry Silver and Mr. Judd Honecker, and that request was granted. I went over to the corporate office and asked them if they would help my community build a community center. We wanted to see to it that wedding receptions, meeting places were available, repasts after funerals. So a couple of weeks went by because I believe Mr. Larry Silver had to go out of town, and I received a call to come back to the corporate office. He said, "Reverend Turner, we're going to build that community center for you. But what we want you to do is to come out and be willing to roll your sleeves up and do some labor." Had no problem, a worker bee. So the Silver companies, the good neighbors that they are, a corporate entity to our great city, always giving back. So we have our community center, thanks to Mr. Larry D. Silver and the Silver companies. That's what it's all about. Not so much always taking away, but giving back. And that's what they have a track record of doing in the city of Fredericksburg, of giving back to the communities, supporting the people that they do business with. So I commend them for partnering up with Cheney Industries. That's a visionary move. Someone that's coming in because we're asking for more jobs. Ask to those that are able to give, and that's what's taking place. Cheney's coming in, providing jobs for the county and additional tax revenue. And before I take my seat,
Reverend Turner, you're going to have to summarize right now.
Right now. I also am formerly employed at Fort A.P. Hill, where I retired. So I have a stake in Caroline County and its future. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Mr. Adams?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, and other board members. My name is Anthony S. Adams. I'm the president and manager of C.W. Edwards Funeral Home, which has been in this community since 1920. Too much is given, much is required. I believe in giving back to the community. I have not had personally dealt with Silver Company or Cheney Enterprise, but I do understand that what they're going to provide to help with the taxes by giving revenue, bringing in revenue into the county, which will also help the citizens of the county because we do get reassessed on our value of our property. So this is something that can offset and help the county in the shortfalls that we have and what you're faced with as far as budgets. This is something that could help. Every little bit helps. So I am in approval of this for the county. I think that you should search your hearts and see and look at what's before you. You have something that's coming to the county that's going to give to the county and not take away. And they had reservations of what would happen to the land because when we're dead and gone and it goes to the next generations, we're always thinking about thinking greener, but they're talking about the, reclaiming the land. So if they're going to make it better and not leave it as an eyesore, So I could see why we shouldn't vote for this. This is something that is good for the county and good for the citizens, and it's not taken away from us, it's given to us. So again, I would like to thank you for this opportunity, and I would like to thank the people of Cheney Enterprise and the Silver Company for giving that you give, because you do not have to give. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Adams.
Chairman of the board, my name is Donald Demers. I own property next to Moss Neck. I've been there 17 years, and I support the project in Moss Neck. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, since you took so little time, spell Demers, please. Mr. Demers? Donald, would you spell your name? We couldn't read it. D-E-M-E-R-S. D-E-M-E-R-S. Sorry about the writing. Sorry. That's okay. Is that, by any chance, your wife, Connie, next? Yes, sir. And then Reverend David Cunningham. Okay, then we have Reverend David Cunningham. Okay, let me do these two, and then we'll take a break. 5 minutes. We're only at 20.
Hi, my name's Connie Demers, and I am, as Donald said, his wife, and we are neighbors of Moss Neck directly. And not only that, but I do have a lot of knowledge of the mineral mine industry, because I am a certified mineral miner as well as a dispatcher. So not only is it going to bring jobs for the trucking company in our areas, which we all know will increase job opportunities, but it's also, I know how they plan on servicing the area as well, and that it's going to help us all out as far as finances, et cetera. So we're for the change.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Good evening. My name is Reverend David Cunningham, and I represent family of mine as well as friends of Caroline County. We are comprised of a group of 20 volunteers, churches, and clergy, and concerned citizens of Caroline County. And we have gone through the county and asked persons who are for the Cheney Enterprise coming into Caroline County to sign petitions. We have a list of more than 1,100 individuals who are for this enterprise coming into Caroline County. It is interesting to me that I represented this group of persons along with family members several months ago at the Planning Commission, and we went back and we did a review of the signatures that we got, and even the dead spoke in favor of it by finding a deceased person in Caroline County's name listed among the names that were given. I give to you tonight not only the original list, but I also give you a purged list of 1,100 names of citizens of Caroline County who are for the Cheney Group and the Silver Company partnering together to come to Caroline County. Thank you.
Reverend Cunningham, before you go.
Yes.
Do you live in the Caroline?
I don't, but my stepmother does, and family.
Okay. Where
Yes.
do you live, just so we can have that?
I live in Fredericksburg.
Thank you very
Yes.
much, sir. And you have the petition that you're going to give to Mr. Parton? All right, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we are, for the most part, most of us are at least 50 years old, so we are going to take a quick 10-minute break, and we're going to come right back. Where's Arthur Cunningham? Oh, they're going to get him? And then Maxwell Allen. Okay, Mr. Silver, you have 3 minutes, sir.
Thank you. I'd like to say good evening to everybody. My name is Louis Silver, and I'm from Ladysmith, from the Western District. And I don't know a whole lot about sand and gravel, but I do know what it is to be without a job. And this company is a proven company. So I say, let's give them a chance to prove themselves one more time. I'm for this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Silver. Okay, the next person didn't show up? Maxwell Allen?
Oh, right here.
Oh,
Maxwell S. Allen, Bowling Green.
you mean
District.
Spencer Allen?
No.
Mr. Allen, that's all I ever call you anyhow, so go right ahead.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say I'm not a reverend. But I did serve on town council 32 years in Bowling Green. And, but I'm not here to either say I'm for the mine or against the mine. What I am against is I saw a petition with my name on it that I did not sign. And I would like to know who took the liberty to sign my name, because I do not appreciate it one bit. And I'm also going to speak on behalf of my sister-in-law. Her name was on it also, and she did not sign it. And I would like for this board to find out who signed my name on a petition that I may or may not have signed. But I did not sign it, and I want the board to look into what's going on and why it happened. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. On that note, we do have the petitions, I believe, as Reverend Cunningham said, the original and one that was scrubbed. We have both of those. We will make those available in the county office, and also have, because you're not the first one, Mr. Allen's not the first one who said their name wasn't on it today. Someone else said their name or a name was on there of a deceased person that they knew. So we're going to check all those, and that goes from another point. So, okay. Did Mr. Cunningham didn't show up? Arthur Cunningham? You Mr. Cunningham?
I am for the proposal for the sand and gravel. And my name is Arthur D. Cunningham, 19065 Hampton Manor Road.
Okay, don't tell us the exact address. Just is the Bowling Green district?
Bowling Green, yeah.
Thank you, sir.
You have a good day.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Cully, if you'll call out the next two, please.
John Allen and Priscilla Vaughn.
John Allen or Jimmy Allen? James?
J.L.
J.L. Oh, no.
My name is James Lyndon Allen, and I had the same problem as my brother did on the signing of this petition. But my problem is I was signed 3 times on 3 different days. 2 of them I was in the accident. And I would like to know who did it. But I was not for the gravel pit.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Allen. And again, to repeat, we're going to try to, as much as we can, get to the root of why their name's on there for people who haven't signed or said they didn't sign. So, thank you. Who is next? Yes, ma'am.
Gentlemen, thank you for this opportunity to speak to the board. I am Priscilla Vaughn. I'm a resident of Tappahannock in Essex County, and I'm a volunteer at the Essex County Museum and Historical Society. I want to speak briefly about the long-term relationship between the Silver family, the people of Tappahannock, and the Essex County Museum. The Silver family roots run deep in Tappahannock. Experiences are still shared to this day by the childhood friends of Carl Silver. Alma Kalkiel, age 85, chatted with me the other day, and she told me that Carl Silver was always welcome in their home, and the parents really loved him because he was polite and he was very respectful. Carl Silver's strong work ethic, his sense for business as a boy, his determination not to be defined by life circumstances, but to be defined by the risk he took and to be allowed to move forward. There are a lot of great experiences shared. When he used to visit with the Coghill family, their father liked to banter with him about business questions because their father was a successful businessman. And as a boy, he was always surprised that Carl gave good answers, and he had a lot of respect for that. Cy Yates told me many stories about his childhood and his boyfriend times with Carl. Cy was involved and friends with Carl during the early car days. And he said that Carl used to tell him that cars were hard to buy, but easy to sell. In fact, he was amazed that Carl would actually go out in the street and stop motorists and ask them if they wanted to sell their car. He thought the important thing was making sure when the car got on the lot, it was the best that it could be. It needed to look good, and it needed to run good. Cy Yates was also a strong supporter of the museum. 20 years ago, when we first started about having a history museum in Essex County, Cy went and had a friendly visit with Carl. This discussion, he brought up the fact that the museum's mission was important to the town of Tappahannock in Essex County, and the fact that the museum did not have a place to go, did not have a permanent home. The Silver family decided to donate $25,000 to assist with getting the museum started. That made a significant difference in what we could do and gave us a tremendous amount of credibility. Over the years, the Silver family has continued to support the museum.
Mrs. Vaughn, you have to summarize now, please.
Larry and his family have continued to tell us and reward us in many ways, expressing appreciation. In return, they've asked for nothing from us. And in fact, their long-term relationship with us.
Mrs. Vaughn, thank you very much for your comments. Have a nice day. Next speaker. We have one we can't read. If anybody remembers signing after Mrs. Vaughn.
If not, it's Robert.
If not,
Robert
Farrar.
And Jerry Roberts.
And Jerry Roberts.
Good evening, gentlemen. Bob Ferrer, Mattaponi District. Ladies, I'm here also. The term trust has been mentioned quite a lot tonight. I was one of the people also that had my name forged on it, on this document here, on a date when I wasn't even in the county. I'm concerned about the process that we have here, that it is truthful and honest, and when we say that we're going to follow certain processes and procedures, that it's done honestly and forthright, and this petition that is part of the record from the planning is clearly fraud. So that's all I have to say, and I urge you to look into it and make sure that this sort of thing doesn't happen in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Who was next? Jerry Roberts.
Yes, sir. I'm Jerry Roberts from the Bowling Green District. And like Mr. Farrar before me, I came here to speak about not the whether or not you want to pass or deny this exemption, but because I too was found my name fraudulently put on with forward signature on a petition. And the fact, I can't stress enough how concerned I am that my name with a forward signature appears on a document that is now a public record. And I applaud the fact you say you're going to get in, that you will conduct a due diligence to get to this. And like Mr. Farrar, the one emphasis I want to make is that I am not concerned about what decision you make tonight, but I am concerned about the efficacy and the integrity of this process and the documentation, and to ensure that we have the due diligence to actually verify these things. I don't know how much petitions actually influence decisions, but it shows here that we need to pursue these things because the residents of this county, such as myself, absolutely have to have confidence in these procedures and processes, that they're upfront and honest, otherwise everything falls apart. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Roberts. And again, as I said to you before, we'll make the petitions available through the county administrator's office if anyone wants to double check. Next to Reverend Joseph Henderson. Jervis Hairston is asked to move his time to Xavier Richardson.
My name is Joseph D. Henderson, Sr. I reside in the city of Fredericksburg, Virginia. I chair the State of Virginia Faith-Based Advisory Initiative, and I'm also the Executive Director of the Bradker Family Life Center. I'm honored to have this opportunity to greet you this evening. I also have members of my church who reside in Caroline County. First, let me say Bradker Family Life Center has been in existence since 1997, and we have always served the community, and we have been a long-standing partner of the civil companies. We have a Food for the Family initiative that we have always had in place that strive to help address hunger and insecurity in our community. When the civil companies talked about the opportunity to give back into Caroline County, we met with them and they were looking at maybe distributing food to other organizations and et cetera. And I said to them, why not look at doing it through the churches? We already have a Food for the Family initiative. We already have an extending partnership with them. Many of you may have heard about the food distribution program. Let me say first of all that I'm concerned that if anyone would try to make that a negative thing, tonight there was about 125 individuals in this room who supports this initiative with the Cheney Enterprises and civil companies. Let me say to you that we've had the privilege to serve hundreds of families this year by assisting them with food. And I'm honored and I'm proud of that. We've been doing that since 1997. And we did that recently with the civil companies. What impressed me about them early on was that you've heard tonight about a lot of things that they do that's public. When I entered their office for the first time, there was a folder of hundreds of people that they've helped that nobody would ever hear about. And I think that's very important. So I encourage you to support them because they're a great partner. Lastly, let me speak to the petitions. As a clergy and working with families in this community, we would never compromise our integrity for a signature. We've had churches getting signatures, we've had individuals in the community, families getting signatures, and at several public locations in our review of the signature, it seemed to be there's a problem at the Bowling Green location. And we would like to know why people would sign somebody else's names also, because we don't know everybody in Bowling Green, and the people we had petitioning do not know the addresses of people in Bowling Green. That seems to be, when we purged the list, where the major issue came, when we had public petitioners trying to do the best they can to keep a process from being compromised. I agree with the gentlemen who have stood before me, and we apologize if they feel hurt. But let me say to this body, in no way that the signatures that were received are signatures that were compromised because of those who took them intended to do that. 1,100 signatures came before you. There was 125 people in this August body on tonight who speaks loud and clear. When you go through those signatures, the people speak for themselves. And I say to you, Mr. Chairman, thank you for your time. And I will say to you, when you look at those petitions, the people taking them had no reason to compromise, and we too would like to get to the bottom of this. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Henderson. Mr. Richardson.
Good evening. I am Xavier Richardson. I reside in Spotsylvania County. It's been said that one ought not to seek greatness, but one should seek to serve others. Because when we seek to serve others and serve others, you will bump into greatness along the way. And certainly the company that I'm here to support this evening has bumped into tremendous greatness because they have served others. And that is the silver companies. And now they're engaged in a relationship with another great company, Cheney Enterprises, which by all indications shares a similar mission, vision, and values. I've come to know the silver companies over the years since I returned here 26 years ago through their active engagement and involvement in the community. This company has given richly of its talents, its time, and its treasures. I've served on numerous boards with members of this organization, and certainly they have always been extremely, extremely generous and very much concerned about the least of us in terms of those who are economically disadvantaged. You see, I was fortunate to be able to secure one of the largest donations in the Fredericksburg area from Mr. Carl D. Silver in my capacity as president of the Mary Washington Hospital Foundation. When Mr. Silver chose to give $2 million to serve those who lack access to health care, and many of those persons, I might add, are from Caroline County. He did this out of the generosity of his heart. And you've heard of many other instances where the company has shared with others. I will tell you one that many people don't know is the generosity that they have provided. An organization I founded 25 years ago called the Partnership for Academic Excellence, where I've helped over 3,600 young people in this community, including many hundreds of young people from here in Caroline County in their quest for a college education. Because of the support of the silver companies and others, I've been able to help these young people to go to some of the leading colleges in this nation, including young people who have gone to Duke University, to the College of William & Mary, to Spelman College, to VCU and the University of Virginia, just to name a few. And certainly, they have always done this in a quiet manner, and there are many other young people who have benefited from their generosity, not for the publicity, but because they wanted to make a difference in this community. They have always exhibited great corporate citizenship, and I know that they will do the same in this community as they've done elsewhere. They're very careful about the partners that they engage with their business ventures and their community initiatives, so it comes as no surprise that they've chosen to engage in this particular major enterprise with Cheney Enterprises, which has also done a tremendous job in its community, as I've gotten to know representatives of that company. So I will say to you, as one other speaker said, to whom much is given, much is required. That is my own personal philosophy, and I'm pleased to say that both of these organizations have demonstrated that same philosophy in their corporate policies, procedures, and philanthropy. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Richardson. We have Mr. Culley wants to pass the ones he can't read to me. Is it Eureka Wallace? That's it? And hold on one second. After you will be Diane Lee, followed by Bruce Lee. Ms. Wallace, how are you this evening?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good.
My name is Eureka Wallace. I live in Upper Caroline. To the Caroline County Board of Supervisors, thank you for allowing me the time this evening to speak with you. You have a difficult job, but I know you will do what is in the best interest of this county, not just a small group who seem to oppose almost everything here. Soil studies have determined that large deposits of sand and gravel resources resulting from natural forces over time are located along Route 17 corridor. I know that the small group of individuals that are opposing this application have also opposed similar applications for sand and gravel operations along the Route 17 corridor. After the county acted to approve these operations, it is my understanding that the small group actually filed suit against the county on more than one occasion, then appealed lower court decisions that validated the original approvals to the state Supreme Court, costing the county and its taxpayers hundreds of thousands of dollars. To defend these lawsuits and appeals brought against the county by the same small group of people. Even more disturbing, these lawsuits have been leveled against the county during a time when the county has had no choice but to raise the real estate tax in the county by 11 cents in a single year, just to provide the basic public services to county residents. Educating children and maintaining public schools costs money. Funding public safety operations, fire, rescue, and sheriff's offices costs money. Providing the average hardworking citizen in this county with just the basics in terms of recreational programs and services vital to their health and their well-being all cost money. Where is the money going to be found? What other economic development opportunities are there going to be presented to the county that would create jobs, generate revenue, and expand the tax base of this county? The majority of the county citizens are not opposed to this project as seen here today, and we encourage the county to do all that it can do to welcome businesses that create jobs and generate revenue and expand the tax base here. While we understand that the county's options to raise revenue and avoid tax hikes have been rather limited, many of us simply cannot afford another real estate tax increase, especially one like the most recent. Please act in the best interest of all of the residents of this county, not just a select few. For what I have seen, have done very little for the majority of the county residents. Yet they continue to oppose this county at every turn. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Wallace.
Yes.
Ms. Lee?
Yes, I'm Diane Lee, and I'm from Port Royal District. I'm a nearby neighbor of the Marsneck property, and I've lived there about 15 years, a little over 15 years, and during that time, it's been sand and gravel operations along that corridor. And I'd just like to say that they've always been good neighbors, and I have no problem with the project and would like to support it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Lee. Well, this is Mr. Lee.
Good evening. I'm Bruce Lee. I'm Diane's husband. I live very close to the project on Ware Creek Road, probably half a mile as a crow flies. And like she said, there's been mining down there since we've been there. You know, I definitely feel like a precedent has been set. I mean, everybody that's applied has been approved that I know of. And it's good for the county. It's good for the people there. Like I said, we live close right now to the Hayfield mine. They mine every day. I've never seen a dust problem, never seen any lights or noise. It's a good operation. And you can't deal with better people than the silver companies. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lee. William Wallace. Arthur Hooley would be after that. Hooley.
Good evening to the chairman and to the board. Thank you for allowing me to speak tonight. My name is William Wallace. I live in Woodford, Virginia. Caroline County is strapped for money. Basically, we're limited with the funds. I just read the progress the other day about the YMCA and the funds here in Caroline County. My kids attend school here in Caroline County. We have projects that are needed in Caroline County, and it's a great concern that we do something to fix the problem. The money is not going to drop out the sky. Cheney Enterprises offering a way that we can earn some income here in Caroline County. And even if it's just one job to help one family in Caroline, that will make a big difference. I recommend that y'all vote yes to Cheney Enterprise coming in Caroline County. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wallace. Mr. Hooley.
Yes, sir. Name's Arthur Hooley, Bowling Green District. The reason why I was here, my name was also brought forth on a petition, not signed by me. I usually don't get into politics. Didn't go to school for English, didn't go to school to be a lawyer. Let me tell you something, trust. That's a big foundation here with this company. I see Cheney Enterprises. Well, something about trust too. That's pretty big in the profession that I chose. When people are in need of somebody to come help them, you got to rely on trust. Let me tell you something else. Fort A.P. Hill, worked there for 8 years. Spent a lot of time there. Saw a lot of soldiers train. There's a lot of sweat put out on that installation. And to sit here in this county and listen to helicopters fly over, maybe listen to those guns shoot at night when we're trying to sleep, that's a good feeling. And for a commander of an installation to come here and express his needs for his soldiers to train for our freedom, that's pretty strong in my book. Something that's very dear to my heart is an acronym called PRIDE. It's what we base our job on every day at work, and that's professionalism, respect, integrity, dedication, and excellence. And to be notified that my name was signed by somebody, you know, that's easy. What's easy about that is there's something called Google. You can Google somebody's name, you can find an address, you can write that down. Just like I did a little Google search. I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a police officer, but looking under forgery, 18.2-172 talks about forging in writing. It's punishable up to a Class 5 felony. And, you know, I haven't done anything here to upset people, and for my name to be brought up in public on a petition that's for